Hey, in this video, we're going to be talking about fasted meditation and the spiritual gains you can get through this powerful practice. I would say that the growth you can get from fasted meditation is almost on par with the growth you can get from psychedelics, right? I'm not suggesting, however, you're going to hallucinate or you're going to see things or that crazy stuff you experience on psychedelics. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm talking about the development and the spiritual gains and growth and expansion you get is kind of comparable, right? So I want to get into this, explain why I've been doing this, why I think it works, and why you should start doing it as well, right? So I used to do fasting quite a lot for the last couple of years, but then I took a break about 6 months ago. For whatever reason, I just stopped doing it. And then at the beginning of this year, I've been doing a 21-day discipline practice, which I'll share in the next video, which I think a lot of people might value. And in this 21-day spiritual discipline practice, a big part of that's been weekly fasting, right? So I've done 3 fasts in total, 3 prolonged fasts. And obviously when you're fasting, you're going to do things like meditation. And I found a new type of meditation, a new way to access more of myself through fasted meditation, right? And I just don't reach these sort of depths when I'm not fasting. So the fasting kind of opens a door to this greater depth, which honestly will be available to everybody, right? So first of all, let's talk about this fasting that I do. What sort of fasting am I talking about? I'm not going to get into the minute details. I have another video on this. It's called Fasting for Spiritual Breakthrough. I'll link it up here and I'll link it at the end of this video. But really what I'm doing is prolonged fasting, right? So it's not intermittent fasting where you eat for a couple of hours a day and then you fast. No, this is just not eating for at least a couple of days, right? You drink water, so it's water fasting, but you're just having no solid food, just water, for a minimum of at least 2 days, right? If you've got the capacity to go longer, you can go longer, right? And I think the benefits would just expand the longer you go. But really, once you get past that kind of, I think for me, past that 36-hour stage and beyond, that's where I'm able to tap into these deeper states and get them gains, right? Them psychedelic type gains. So why do I think this works? Well, this is my own kind of science. I don't know the proper science on this, but it's almost like when you stop eating, a part of your mind kind of loses its hold on you, right? That ego that's always there and its patterns and its programs, it seems to kind of lose its hold a little bit when you stop eating. I mean, I'm back eating as normal now, so I'm going to see how this goes, but maybe when we eat, we almost strengthen our negative patterns. At least that's what it feels like to me. So when I've stopped eating, this ego part of me, all the negativity seems to kind of dissolve a little bit and fall away, right? And with that comes a lot of mental clarity. So mental clarity is one of the best, most well-documented benefits of fasting. You have more clarity, you have more focus, right? And when you combine that increased focus with less ego, your meditations are going to go deeper, right? And when your mind's more silent, you've got that focus, you can access some great depth in your meditation. And it's that depth that I've really been experiencing. It's that depth that's going to grow you, that's going to expand your consciousness. Because when you access depth, right, you have to go or get beyond yourself. That's what happens. It's almost like you're in this empty kind of open space, right? It's a term a lot of teachers use. Just this awareness. You've got beyond your identity. You're just this openness. I had this experience, I think it was this morning actually, where I was moving around, but it was like the field of consciousness actually wasn't moving. I could feel different sensations with me moving my head, but the consciousness was almost the stillness, right? So it was a really weird type of sensation, and it was the first time I experienced it at that sort of depth, right? So when you begin to go to these depths, when you really get beyond your mind, all the programs and the ego, that's when you're building capacity. That's when you expanding consciousness. I made a video recently where I talked about the importance of building capacity so you can handle more. You can handle more life, you can handle more negativity, you can handle more of everything, right? That's what the spiritual journey is about. It's about expanding ourselves to the point where we can contain the whole freaking universe, right? But it takes time to build that capacity. And the deeper we drop, the deeper we go in meditation, the more capacity we build, the more awareness, the more consciousness expands, right? So that's the point. That's what we're trying to get to. And when we stop eating, it's easier to drop down into these depths of openness so we can handle more, we get more capacity. So that's really why you've got to do it. And like I said, when you go to these depths and your consciousness expands, I honestly feel like you get a similar sort of expansion as you may get on a psychedelic, right? Because the real psychedelic type gains don't come for a couple of weeks afterwards, right? Yeah, you might have some insights while you're tripping, but the real expansion of consciousness comes, for me at least, a few weeks later, or maybe even a few months later, right? It takes time for the changes to really kind of sink in. And I feel like when you drop very deep in these fasted meditations, you get very close to your subconscious programs and patterns, things that you weren't aware of before. Now, you might not have the insight while you're in that deep meditation because you're just empty awareness, right? But I guarantee you a week or so later, things will start bubbling up to the surface, unconscious patterns that you weren't even aware of, right? Beliefs and programs and things that you do that you're completely unconscious of. Because when you drop to that depth, right, you're so close to your subconscious, right? You're right in it, right? And things will start to bubble to the surface, right? Where you can actually become aware of them and you can start to work with them. And another cool benefit of this is fasting increases neurogenesis, right? Which is the formation of new brain cells. That's so fucking cool that we can develop new brain cells. The other thing it does is it promotes neuroplasticity, which means your brain can begin to rewire itself, right? So when you drop to these deep depths of silence and peace, your brain is experiencing a new depth that it's never experienced before, right? That's going to create the formation of new brain cells, neurogenesis. Your brain's going to start to rewire itself because it's experiencing a whole different energetic frequency, right? So it's literally going to change your brain. And because you've got past your ego, because you've got past all your programs and patterns, all that stuff will get deprogrammed, right? It'll get unwired, if that's even a word, right? And a healthier way of being will begin to get programmed, rewired, right? So it's so cool. That's why we've got to find the depth. That's why meditation is just like an awesome practice. A couple of other benefits you might be interested to know that I get from fasting is deeper sleep. I sleep like a baby. My sleeps are so deep that I don't know where I am. They're just the deepest sleeps I've ever have is when I'm fasted. And obviously it builds discipline. The reason I got on this in the first place, like I said, I've been doing a 21-day discipline challenge from the beginning of the year. I'm just finishing up with it now. And I've had some great progress and growth through this practice. So I'm going to share this practice hopefully in the next video. But I just wanted to really zone in on the fasted meditation part because this is just a simple practice everyone can do, right? You might not want to try psychedelics. You might not have access to psychedelics. I live in the UK, trust me, it's hard to get anything out here. We're so kind of tight with the laws. But this is just a simple practice everyone can do. Yes, it's a bit uncomfortable, but you can do it. You can build the capacity to do it. It's not a one-time thing, right? It's probably something you're going to have to incorporate into your lifestyle. For me now, since I finished this challenge, I'm planning to get back into regular fasting, probably fasting once a month or so for now. But yeah, it's something that you hopefully can build and incorporate into your lifestyle, right? And then when you start to meditate and get them gains and growth, like I've just explained, it's going to change your whole life. And that's why we're doing it, right? To get closer to God, get closer to ourselves, grow, expand, all of that. So that's everything I'm going to talk about. Look out for my next video with that discipline practice I've just talked about. But yeah, I hope this video helped some of you out. So until next time, God bless.